If you're over 60, there's a good chance you've been praised for choosing lean meats and told that's the safest path. But here's the twist no one explains. Certain meats that look clean on the plate can quietly drive up blood pressure, irritate your kidneys, stiffen your joints, and nudge memory in the wrong direction, especially with the way they're processed or cooked. Today, I'm going to show you 4 meats I want you to treat with extreme caution, and 4 I love recommending because they're deeply nourishing for brains, joints, muscles, and metabolism. We'll talk labels, safer cooking methods, affordable swaps, and the one protein most of us ignore that can help your knees feel looser and your mornings feel easier. Keep listening, because by the end, you'll know exactly what to choose for dinner and which healthy sandwich meat has been quietly undermining your hard work for years. Let's start with a sacred cow of the deli counter: turkey breast. The problem isn't the bird, it's the processing. Many sliced turkey products are tumbled with brines, preservatives, and phosphate additives that make the texture perfect and the shelf life long, but also load you with sodium and phosphorus your kidneys have to handle. After 60, kidneys are already doing overtime. Extra phosphate can push mineral balance in the wrong direction, encouraging the body to pull calcium from bone and making blood vessels less friendly. And even brands that call themselves natural often slip in sodium phosphate or flavorings. If turkey is your lunchtime staple, don't panic. Shift how you source and prepare it. Buy a fresh, unseasoned breast, roast it at home with herbs and olive oil, slice it yourself, and freeze in portions. When you do buy pre-sliced, scan the ingredients for phosphates, nitrates, nitrites, or broth solution. Fewer words, fewer additives, happier kidneys. That single tweak can change your blood pressure readings over the next few months. Now let's talk bacon, because I know many of you love it with eggs on Saturday morning. Here's what I want you to know. Processed, cured meat carries a risk profile that grows with age. The curing agents that keep bacon pink and perky can form compounds during cooking that aren't friendly to your colon or your arteries, and the combination of salt, saturated fat, and these byproducts can harden the path your blood needs to travel. For the brain, that matters. Oxygen delivery is everything. Do you need to be perfect? No. But you do want to be strategic. If bacon is a non-negotiable, think special occasion, not daily companion. Cook it gently until just crisp, never charred, and blot excess fat. Explore alternatives on days you'd otherwise default to bacon. Sliced avocado with smoked paprika, mushrooms sautéed with thyme for a savory bite, or a couple of olives alongside eggs for that salty satisfaction. Some people enjoy uncured turkey bacon from brands that skip added nitrites. Even then, treat it like a treat. Your arteries can't see the difference between Sunday and Tuesday, but they do notice the weekly pattern. The next surprise is going to sound like I'm attacking your good intentions, and I promise I'm not. Skinless chicken breast is often our go-to when we decide to clean up our eating. The issue isn't chicken itself, it's the combination of how it's raised and how we cook it. Conventional chicken is often raised on grain-heavy feed and routinely exposed to medications during its life. That can shift the fat profile toward more omega-6s, which in high amounts can fuel inflammation. Then we throw it on a screaming hot grill, flip it until it's striped and smoky, and unknowingly create high-heat byproducts that aren't kind to the gut or the liver. There's a better way. Choose pasture-raised or organic when you can, where the feed and living conditions tend to produce a different nutrient balance. Instead of charring, bake, poach, or slow cook with moisture until tender. Marinating in lemon juice, vinegar, or yogurt with herbs before cooking can dramatically reduce the formation of those unwanted compounds. If you love grilled flavor, quick sear at the end rather than cooking through over high heat. Same chicken, different chemistry, better outcome. Now, the heavy topic. Veal and organ cuts from young animals have long been marketed as tender and clean, but after 60, they can be surprisingly tough on your system. Veal, and especially veal organs like liver and kidneys, are dense in heme iron and purines. Hemi-iron is highly absorbable. We need some, but too much can act like a spark on the oxidative stress bonfire, aging tissues from the inside. Purines break down into uric acid, which can inflame joints, raise gout risk, and agitate the kidneys that are trying to clear it all. If you've had toe pain, swollen knuckles, or a history of kidney stones, you know exactly what I mean. Could some people tolerate an occasional small portion? Perhaps. But if your goal is to support brain aging, joint comfort, and calm blood vessels, this is not the hill to die on. Choose small portions of adult, grass-fed beef occasionally if you crave red meat, and skip the young animal organs. Your future self will thank you when your hands feel looser and your mornings start smoother. Let me pull the threads together so far. We're not demonizing animals. We're calling out 4 patterns that complicate healthy aging. Deli-style turkey loaded with phosphates and salt, bacon and other cured meats with processing risks and inflammatory loads, chicken breast grilled at high heat and sourced from industrial systems, and veal, especially liver and kidney, packing more heme iron and purines than most older bodies want to juggle. None of this is meant to scare you into a lettuce-only life. It's meant to give you leverage. You can keep the comfort of familiar foods while you upgrade how you buy, cook, and combine them. And now comes the fun part. 4 meats I love for people over 60 because they're nutrient-dense, often easier on the system, and deeply satisfying. Get ready to circle a couple for your next grocery run. One of them may surprise you with how quickly your joints notice the difference. First up is the wallflower at many American tables, grass-fed lamb. When lamb is raised on pasture and eats what sheep are designed to eat, its fat carries a different personality, more anti-inflammatory compounds, and a micronutrient profile rich in vitamin B12, zinc, and selenium for nerve health, immune strength, and thyroid support. For many of my older patients, lamb feels satisfyingly rich, but doesn't leave them feeling heavy the way some beef does. The preparation matters. Slow roast a small shoulder or leg with rosemary, garlic, and lemon, or braise shanks until the meat slips from the bone. The herbs aren't just flavor, they bring antioxidants that protect during cooking. If you're watching your budget, ask the butcher for stew cuts or look for frozen options. They're often cheaper and just as nourishing. Keep portions mindful. 3 to 4 ounces is plenty for most meals. And round out the plate with a heap of vegetables and a fiber-rich starch to steady blood sugar. If you haven't had lamb in years, this is your invitation to rediscover it, cooked gently and served with freshness. Let's talk about a tiny powerhouse in a tin, sardines, packed in water or olive oil. They're one of my favorite fast foods for older adults because they check boxes most meats can't. They deliver highly bioavailable omega-3s for brain and joint comfort, natural vitamin D for bones and mood, calcium from the soft bones, and vitamin B12 for energy and memory, without the mercury concerns that come with large predatory fish. If you shy away from the flavor, I hear you. Start by rinsing lightly, then mash with a squeeze of lemon, Dijon mustard, cracked pepper, and a little chopped parsley. Spread on whole grain toast, tuck into lettuce leaves, or toss through warm, garlicky beans with cherry tomatoes and olive oil. Aim for 2 to 3 sardine meals a week if you can. Over time, many people notice calmer joints, clearer thinking, and friendlier triglycerides on their labs. And they're budget-friendly, often a fraction of the price of fresh fish, with a shelf life that makes planning easy. If there's one pantry staple I hope you try from today's video, it's this one. If this is helpful so far, take a moment to subscribe to Senior Vitality Pro and let me know your age or where you're watching from in the comments. I read them and shape future topics around what you need most, whether that's kidney-friendly meals, brain-boosting breakfasts, or joint-soothing soups. Your note helps me build the next episode for you. Now for the sleeper hit most of us ignore. Collagen-rich cuts like beef tendon, oxtail, shank, and knuckle. They don't look glamorous, but they're exactly what aging joints crave. As we get older, our bodies make less collagen, the scaffolding that keeps cartilage springy, skin resilient, and gut lining sturdy. Slow-cooking tendon or shank coaxes out gelatin and amino acids like glycine and proline, the raw materials for repair. When you simmer these cuts with onion, garlic, a splash of apple cider vinegar, and spices like turmeric and bay leaf, the pot does the work for you. You're left with silky meat and a broth that sets to a gentle gel in the fridge. That's a sign you've extracted the good stuff. Sip the broth, stir it into soups, or ladle it over vegetables and brown rice. Many people report easier mornings, smoother knees on the stairs, and even deeper sleep when they include gelatin-rich foods a few times a week. It's old-fashioned cooking, but your connective tissue understands every spoonful. The final member of our Eat More Often list is grass-fed bison, sometimes labeled buffalo. Think of it as the calmer cousin of beef, lean, high in protein, and naturally rich in iron, zinc, and selenium. But many people find it easier to digest and less likely to leave them feeling sluggish. Because it's lean, bison cooks quickly and does best with gentle treatment. Pan-sear ground bison for chili, make small patties and cook to medium, or braise shoulder cuts low and slow. If you're easing back into red meat after a break, start with one small serving a week and see how you feel. Pair it with a generous pile of greens, roasted vegetables, and a squeeze of citrus to brighten the plate. For those watching cholesterol, the combination of lean protein and minerals can support muscle integrity without the heaviness some associate with beef. And if you've only ever seen bison at specialty stores, check your freezer aisle. Many mainstream markets now carry it at reasonable prices, especially in ground form. Knowing what to buy is half the battle. The label is your map. Here's how to read it like a pro. For deli turkey and other sliced meats, scan for phosphate, phosphoric, sodium nitrate, nitrite, cured, smoke flavor, and broth solution. Fewer ingredients, no added phosphates, and sodium under 300 milligrams per serving are good targets. For chicken, look for pasture-raised or organic, and avoid packages that say enhanced or list injected solutions. With lamb and bison, 100% grass-fed or pasture-raised matters. Grass-fed, grain-finished is better than conventional, but not the same. For canned fish, choose wild-caught sardines packed in water or extra virgin olive oil. Skip soybean or generic vegetable oils. If budget is tight, prioritize. Shift away from processed meats first, then upgrade poultry, then explore lamb or bison when on sale. Frozen is your friend. Nutrients hold up well, and you waste less. And remember, the best label is the one on a whole food with nothing to hide. How we cook can double the benefit, or cancel it. High heat and charring create unwanted compounds in any meat. The antidotes are simple. Marinate with acidity, lemon juice, vinegar, yogurt, or wine, plus herbs like rosemary, thyme, oregano, and garlic. Those polyphenols help neutralize troublemakers as they form. Cook low and slow when possible, braises, stews, and gentle roasting. If you grill, pre-cook in the oven, then finish quickly over flame for flavor without the burn. Trim charred bits and avoid blackened surfaces. Let meat rest. Cutting immediately spills juices and can tempt overcooking to chase doneness. Store leftovers promptly, reheat gently in broth or olive oil, and avoid repeatedly reheating the same meat. Add a colorful plant side to every plate. Bitter greens, broccoli, tomatoes, berries. Their antioxidants and fiber help escort byproducts out and keep your microbiome happy. It's not just what you eat, it's the chemistry of your meal. Portion size and rhythm matter as much as the meat itself. Most older adults thrive on 3 to 4 ounces of cooked protein per meal. That's roughly the size of a deck of cards. When you go larger, Make sure you go larger on vegetables and fiber too. Aim for a plate that's half non-starchy vegetables, a quarter protein, and a quarter smart starch like beans, lentils, sweet potato, or intact whole grains. Hydration supports your kidneys in clearing what your body doesn't need. Sip water or herbal tea with and between meals. If you're rebuilding muscle or recovering from an illness, a slightly higher protein target may help, but spread it across the day rather than piling it into dinner. And remember that not every day has to include animal protein. Sardines one day, lamb stew another, a bison chili later in the week, then fill the gaps with legumes, eggs if you tolerate them, and tofu or tempeh for variety. The pattern is your medicine. Let's tailor this to common health concerns. For high blood pressure, the first upgrade is ditching processed meats and choosing low-sodium options across the board. Flavor with acids, herbs, and spices instead of salt, and look for canned sardines with sodium at or below 200 milligrams per serving. For type 2 diabetes, pair meats with fiber-rich sides to blunt glucose spikes, lentil salads, roasted Brussels sprouts, or a big bed of greens. Avoid sugary marinades and glazes. For gout or a history of kidney stones, limit organ meats and veal, drink more water, include cherries or cherry juice occasionally, and choose fish like sardines in modest portions, balanced with vegetables. See how your body responds and talk with your clinician about uric acid levels. For chronic kidney disease, be especially cautious with phosphate additives, processed meats, and oversized portions. Work with a renal dietitian for targets. For cognitive health, emphasize omega-3 sources like sardines and keep cured meats to rare appearances. Let's make this wildly practical with a simple week to try. Day 1. Slow-cooked lamb shank with rosemary, carrots, and mashed cauliflower. Leftover meat becomes a warm salad with arugula and lemon the next day. Day 2. Sardines on whole grain toast with mustard and capers. Add a tomato cucumber salad. Day 3. Bison chili loaded with onions, bell peppers, and beans. Freeze half. Day 4. Pasture-raised chicken thighs, marinated in yogurt, garlic, and turmeric, baked until tender. Serve with roasted broccoli. Day 5. Tendon or shank stew with ginger, garlic, and bok choy. Sip the broth as an evening tea. Day 6. Big vegetable bowl with olives, walnuts, and a scoop of lentils. Sardine spread on the side if you want protein. Day 7. Grilled flavor without the burn. Pre-roasted lamb kebabs quickly kissed by the grill, served with a lemony herb sauce and a heap of greens. Slide in fresh fruit, kefir or yogurt if tolerated, and nuts across the week for snack insurance. What about the sandwiches, breakfasts, and snacks that trip people up? For sandwiches, roast your own turkey or chicken on Sunday, slice, and freeze in portions. Build with whole grain bread, avocado, tomato, and a smear of hummus instead of mayo for fiber and healthy fats. For breakfast, swap bacon and charred sausage for a veggie-packed omelet with herbs, a side of berries, and a few olives for salt satisfaction. Or try sardines on rye with sliced cucumber and lemon. It sounds bold, but the freshness is lovely. For snacks, keep roasted chickpeas, nuts, or a small jar of olives on hand. If you prefer something warm in the afternoon, heat a mug of gelatin-rich broth from your tendon stew. It steadies appetite and comforts joints better than a cookie ever could. These small swaps matter because they're the bites we take day after day, the quiet builders of health or harm. Let's revisit the why behind the danger list so it sticks. Deli-style turkey is an issue because of additives, especially phosphates and sodium, that strain kidneys and blood vessels. Bacon and similar processed meats are problematic for their curing agents and the compounds formed at high heat, which your colon and arteries do not appreciate. Conventional, high-heat grilled chicken breast stacks, 2 risks: industrial sourcing that shifts fat chemistry, and the char that forms under intense flame. And veal, particularly liver and kidneys, packages heme iron and purines in a way that can be overwhelming for aging brains, joints, and kidneys. None of this says, you can never enjoy a restaurant meal again. It says, your daily defaults matter more than your occasional treats. When in doubt, cook gently, choose simpler ingredient lists, and pair protein with plants. And the why behind the healing list is just as compelling. Grass-fed lamb brings supportive fats and minerals for nerves and immunity in a portion size that satisfies. Sardines concentrate brain-friendly omega-3s, vitamin D, calcium, and B12 in a safe, affordable form. Collagen-rich cuts like tendon and shank deliver the building blocks your joints are asking for, and the broth you make from them becomes a therapy you can sip. Grass-fed bison brings lean, robust protein with minerals older adults often need more of, and many people feel better after eating it than they do after beef. Notice the pattern? These choices are simple, time-tested, and forgiving. They don't require a gourmet kitchen, just a pot, a pan, and a little patience. And their benefits compound when you make them regularly. If you're feeling a little overwhelmed, take one step. Replace deli turkey with home-roasted slices this week. Next week, add a tin of sardines to 2 lunches. Then try a pot of shank or tendon stew on the weekend and freeze portions for easy dinners. When lamb goes on sale, buy a small roast and cook it slowly with rosemary. If you see bison in the freezer aisle, grab a pound of ground bison and swap it into your favorite chili recipe. Every upgrade sends a message to your brain, vessels, kidneys, and joints. Help is on the way. And your body responds. Mornings feel steadier. Blood pressure readings inch in the right direction. Knees complain less on the stairs. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. That's the real secret no one tells you. Consistency beats intensity every time. Let's close the loops we opened. You learned that certain widely trusted meats can work against healthy aging when they're processed with phosphates, cured with nitrites, or scorched at high heat. You discovered that the tender meat some call gourmet can be a mismatch for older physiology because of its iron and purine load. You learned 4 smarter allies: grass-fed lamb, sardines, collagen-rich cuts, and grass-fed bison, and how to shop, cook, and portion them. You learned that herbs, marinades, and low and slow techniques aren't just flavor. They're science in your corner. And you have a simple weekly plan to make the whole thing doable without spending all day in the kitchen. This is how we protect memory, calm joints, support kidneys, and keep muscles strong, one ordinary meal at a time. Here's your gentle challenge for the week ahead. Pick one meat to retire from your daily rotation, maybe the deli turkey or the Saturday bacon, and choose one to invite in: sardines on toast, lamb stew, a small bison chili, or a pot of tendon broth. Notice how you feel after those meals: energy, digestion, sleep, joint comfort. Track it for 7 days. Your body will tell you a story. We just have to listen. If a change makes you feel worse, we adjust. If a change makes you feel better, we repeat it. That's how health becomes a habit, and how a simple dinner becomes a quiet investment in your future days. You're not too old to change. You're perfectly timed to benefit. Let's put that next grocery trip to work for you.